Live on national television, the Cincinnati Reds head to the ninth, down by a run, believe it or not, to the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm sure it's been a absolute market-shattering, record-setting broadcast numbers for Fox. Hey, they're committed to baseball. What can you say on a very busy college football Saturday? The Cincinnati Reds are hogging up the airwaves on national television, Nick.
It's even the game here in Cleveland. I didn't even have to switch to any alternate channels. I mean,
it's
national. This is the game they want people to see.
No doubt about it. I loved how they started the broadcast off. The Brewers, this, that, and the next. First place. Look at all these players. And they're like, and they're going against Elly De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds. Have you seen Elly De La Cruz play? If you haven't, you need to see it. And that was the end of the Reds banter.
I got to get something off my chest.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm normally not a guy that likes to be critical of people who are broadcasters because it's hard enough being a podcaster and, you know.
Yep, it's not an easy job.
Who on God's green earth likes AJ Pierzynski as a broadcaster?
Well, he struggles.
I mean, this guy has got to be the most miserable person in the history of calling baseball games.
Are you just saying he's kind of a monologue, a little boring?
No, I don't think he's that boring. I think he's just like, he seems like he's miserable.
Like he doesn't want to be there or what?
I don't know. He's just, I don't know. His personality.
Let's just do it. Personality.
Brutal.
Okay. Don't like the personality.
Ugh.
Devin Williams does not like the mound. Not a fan.
Yeah, Devin. Like, come on, man.
Let's
like,
fix this. Could we fix this, please?
The Reds haven't got a hit against this guy since 2022, and he's making them fix the mound.
Well, maybe he's trying to keep a record up. He's not here to blow this save.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little feisty tonight. Do you know that there was do you know the Devin Williams saga?
No. I got to be honest, Nick. This
with
game
Reds,
didn't make
with Reds. No, with Reds Twitter.
No, I didn't know there was a saga with Reds Twitter.
There's a certain account that tweeted out that Devin Williams is overrated.
Overrated?
Yeah, and it got back to the Brewers, and like the Brewers make fun of this account. It's the same account that that you brought in a receipt on last year, because they made fun of us doing this after every game.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Does it rhyme with Satty Sports?
Ding, ding, ding. No, like their beat reporters like make fun of it, like still to this point. Man.
I mean, why not? Overrated. Haven't got a hit off of him in 20 years. This is going to be the night, though. Watch this. Watch this. They're going to come in here and they're going to blow. They're going to get him to blow this save.
God.
Now you're ahead of me. So
I gotta look at this. I won the 1-1. Have you saw the 1-1? The pitch that's
no, it was a 1-0 pitch. How are you so far ahead of me? Golly day, dude. I mean, I can't help it. This is YouTube TV. What do you want from me?
I mean, every time I want to cancel my direct TV
strike. Devin Williams just caught the ball. Yeah, the ball was just barely low. Is that what you're saying?
Barely.
Come on, Nick. You're gonna tell me that was super low?
All right, I'm a little bit ahead now. Let me know when you see the 1-2.
1-1. The 1-1 pitch is on its way. It is swung and missed.
All right,
by Marte.
We're close enough.
I'll give you the play-by-play. Noelvi Marte stands up there looking like a lemon pop on a nice summer day. Can't tell if he's playing for the Brewers or the Reds, but here we go. Devin Williams at the ready. The set, the wind, and the pitch. Ball outside. Well, the Reds are looking to try to find something to build upon for 2025. And Devin Williams is looking to retire his 19th straight Red in a row, and he does it on a fastball upstairs, and Marte has no chance.
When is this guy a free agent?
And by no chance, I mean your great grandma trying to figure out how to use YouTube TV. My favorite story about Reed and Reed's dad. Reed got YouTube TV a couple years ago, and he was telling his dad like he got YouTube TV and doesn't have cable anymore. And he's like, his dad goes, he's like, well, I have YouTube. It's free. Why do you pay for it? And he's like, no, it's like, no, Dad, it's something different. It's not YouTube. It's like YouTube TV. And he's like, I have YouTube. It's free. I'll show it to you. And just never registered. Just didn't register for old Mark
That's
Mouse.
electric.
Hey, Reed Mouse is in the chat. I love that.
Nothing better to do on a Saturday night than watch a Reds post-game show, Reed.
He's a company man through and through. Who
What
knew?
a guy.
I mean, he is a guy. What a guy. He's probably just watched the full-length game of Oregon State versus Idaho State.
Yeah.
He's probably decided he's going to tune into Chatterbox Reds just after he got finished watching Chatterbox Bearcats, and who knows what's next on the agenda for Reed Mouse. I got to tell you, though, chat, Nick Kirby's going to have to carry this show. I'm hopeful that we can find a way here, but I am not expecting much here.
I would never expect anything against Devin Williams. I think you can pretty much just go ahead and start the show.
That's possible. There's always a chance. Is that out of play? Sure is.
All right. Red light him on 3-2.
Yeah. Got some people in the chat letting us know about the upsets.
All right.
That's a ball. That's how you do it. Now we're a swing away. And the next thing you know, Saturday Sports will be vindicated. Damn, that is so close, Nick.
Oh, shut your mouth.
It's a pretty good pitch, I must admit. Not quite good enough, though.
Did you see that scorecard from Game 1 yesterday?
Mm-hmm. What do you miss? 17 calls, and it was like a 1.3.
Plus 1.5 runs.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey, tough day at the office, It was hot, to be fair to him. All right, we're one swing away from ending the game in two different ways.
Only hot when the Reds were hitting, apparently.
Well, maybe so. Come on, Steer. No. This game never did make it to the sound game, It never did. I had a couple rotating games. This one was on the side TV the whole time. So, never did get a chance to hear Perdzinski.
I had sound down for Tom for quite a while.
I listened to the Tom at the beginning and the end. That was what I listened to. So, shout out to him. Still great at calling football games. Period. Steer, come on, buddy. Steer likes hitting leadoff, huh?
Seems like he's the Jonathan India alternate.
Yeah. Also, it's like one of those things where he just had a couple good games in the leadoff spot. You put him there all year long, he has the same exact numbers, probably. Oh, gosh, what a good pitch that was. Good swing by putting it in play, or putting at least a bat on it to stay alive. Obviously not in play, but let's see here.
Dangerous way to live.
Come on, Spencer.
Say some stuff, Spence. Come on, David, get tossed.
It's outside, isn't it?
Yep.
That's so close, though. That's the crazy thing about the big leagues. Is like that's just so close. But truth is, it's not a strike. So here we go, baby. Clutch Ellie. Let's do it. I want that Chris Paul meme tweeted as soon as he hits this thing, too. I'll take it. Blast. I don't think I'd throw anything other than that changeup if I was him. I think we're convincing the chat, and I think we're getting closer and closer to having ABS. When Jim is on the ABS train, I know we're really close. I'm all about the challenge.
Brings a tear to my eye.
I'm all about the challenging too. I like that. I like the idea of not having like the whole entire game being just completely robot, but definitely towards the end of the game there should be the ability to challenge.
Am I still a little bit ahead of you?
Probably. It's okay, Nick. I wouldn't worry about it, buddy. If he hits a home run, you get excited. I'll be excited too.
I'll do a quick pause and play.
Ellie looks like those ice creams that you get at Kroger when they give you like a huge 20-gallon bucket of it, and they just got every other color of the rainbow sherbet.
Devin Williams has to lead in the history of baseball of hitless innings where he throws like almost 30 pitches.
Oh.
Oh, I'm saying, you poor lady.
Yeah.
You poor thing. Oh,
so
man.
tough.
Oh, God.
So tough. Oh, man. Golly, Devin, can't you get him out faster? I mean, we got to win our 96th game. Meanwhile, we're a freaking Saturday night. We got 104 people in here just in the pits of hell.
You're annoyed because your closer with a .04 ERA walked the guy. Oh, Lord.
We're going to win this game, aren't we? Devin Williams is going to blow this somehow, and we're going to win. And here's the thing. I'm so numb to all this right now. I'm going to have to find a way to get some courage here. TJ Friedel's going to rip a ball down the line. You're going to get your Ellie De La Cruz rounding all the way around the bases.
Yeah, I
kind of got that yesterday. Yeah, you didn't really get a good version. You got it so good that he was literally across the plate by the guy time tried to throw the ball in. Like, yeah, this is just no chance. This is a kind of a weird spot for the Brewers, though, because you don't want to play too deep.
I mean, you definitely have like a chance to cut down Stevenson.
Dude. Call a strike, please, man. I mean, I don't complain about umpires hardly ever, but by God, you can't give him both sides of the plate. You gave him the inside, now he's got the outside. Pick one. 95. We missed it. Just swung right through it. We're screwed. Please, TJ. Please, TJ.
Good take.
I hope he didn't swing at that. Ball bounced in front of the plate. Good pick, by the way. Those are the things that we don't pay attention to because it's just assumed, but that was a really nice stop. Oh, no. Dude, what the hell, man? This dude can't stay healthy. I mean, he's probably okay, but I'm just this is getting old. He gets hit like every other game, dude. He doesn't get hit in the back either. It's like his kneecap, it's his ankle, fuck, his wrist, breaks his hand.
You could hit Ty. Sorry, Ty.
Oh, here we go. Good take. We didn't want that pitch.
What is the chances of them actually using the guy that's getting up?
Yeah, I mean, unless they blow the lead or something.
Well, I know, but like
I'm just saying, if they tie the game. No, listen, if they tie the game, and Devin Williams gets them out of the inning, that guy's coming in next. That's what it is.
Yeah. Are you sure that's not a strike? You sure? He wanted to call it.
He definitely did. Good job by Contreras. Good catcher, man. He's just love the phone.
Ty France is really good at fouling pitches off.
Yeah, he's a hell of a guy.
I'll give him that.
He'll get that pitch count up at the very last at bat of the game. Scream! I love the in-house. Whoever's doing the in-house scoreboards, telling people to scream. Let's get them fired up, baby. Oh my gosh, dude! Are you kidding me?
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line to the right field. Gets it! The first run ever with 4 home runs in a game.
For those that want to say that water finds its level and, stats will always add up and at some point it'll even out. When's it going to happen? At what point do we get to experience the things that the people in Milwaukee get to experience? Because the problem that I have is I'm not too sure how many people up there in Milwaukee even give a rat's tail about what's going on with the Brewers. But yet here we are. We got to watch the Brewers every single time they play the Reds, and they do this time and time again. They're robbing home runs. They're diving and making plays to end the game. Maybe they do this all year long, and maybe that's why they have the best record in the National League Central. But I'm at a loss at this point. There's so many other things that I would rather be doing with my time than have to watch the miserable existence of this Reds team trying to beat the Brewers. Nick, God's honest truth, I'm not even mad about the game. I'm not mad about the fact that the Reds season's just been a disgrace. I'm more or less just pissed off because we don't ever get nice things with the Brewers. We don't ever get nice things. Devin, I can't even say his name. Devin Williams, as we all know, unbelievable closer. Can't ever do anything wrong. Well, he walks a guy. He hits a guy. Next thing you know, he doesn't have his best stuff. Ty France laces a ball down the first base line, and next thing you know, we got Stretch Armstrong over there at first base, tries to reach out, makes the play, and that's the end of the game. Reds have now lost 1 billion games out of 1,000,000,003. And we're supposed to do a show tonight, Nick? That's what we're supposed to do? God bless us. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm going to do my best, but I got to be honest. I got a lot of distractions tonight. I'm going to try to. I'm laying off the jokes tonight. Okay, I'm going to be appropriate. I got a lot of things that I'd like to say, but I'm not going to say them yet. You have a box score recap. If you don't, God's honest truth. We all understand.
Always do. All 162.
God,
well, not all 162. Craig will be doing tomorrow, so shout out to Craig.
Yeah, God bless you, man. Let us know about the box score recap presented by you.
All right, Reds taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Game 3 of 4 at Great American Ballpark. Reds going with another bullpen game. Fernando Cruz pitched very well for a second straight appearance as an opener. Cruz threw 2 scoreless innings with 5 strikeouts. In the top of the third, Willy Adames continued his terror on the Reds. Adames hit a 3-run homer off Buck Farmer. Adames now has 18 career homers against the Reds in 56 career games. He's homered in every game of this series. Frankie Montas held the Reds offense scoreless through the first 4 innings. It was the first game ever that Montas pitched against the Reds. But in the bottom of the 5th, Will Benson led off with a walk. Noelvi Marte singled. And then Luke Maile laid down a successful sacrifice bunt with the Reds trailing by 3 runs. Spencer Steer then singled home 2 runs to make it a 3-2 game, and that ended a streak of 18 consecutive innings without a run. Some guy named David Buchanan came in for the Reds, and he gave up a run in the top of the 6th to increase the Brewers' lead to 4-2. Buchanan actually did a nice job. He only allowed 1 run over 3 1/3 innings. In the bottom of the 6th, Ty France had a leadoff walk, and then Ahmed Rosario destroyed a 2-run homer to left field off Frankie Montas. Tie ball game, just Ahmed Rosario's 3rd home run of the entire season. And then later in the inning, Noelvi Marte hit a ball 411 feet, but he was robbed of a home run by Blake Perkins. And then both teams' bullpens pitched very well. On the Red side, Tony Santillan was brilliant, inning in 2/3, 5 strikeouts. His only mistake was on himself. He threw a ball away. But Justin Wilson gave up a solo home run to Jackson Churio in the top of the 9th to put the Reds down 5-4. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Reds tried to rally off of Devin Williams, a guy that has not a lot of runs since 2022 to the Reds. Noelvi Marte started off the inning with a strikeout, but then Tyler Stevenson walked. Steer struck out. on a pitch that was clearly a ball. Ellie De La Cruz walked. TJ Friedel was hit in the kneecap to load the bases. And then Ty France hit a ball 103.4 off the bat to Jake Bauers, who has a career minus 17 outs above average. But Jake Bauers made a ridiculous play to end the ball game. Reds lose. Reds now 64-73 on the season.
Minus 17? Minus 17, and he pulls that out of his ass? You can't make this up. I mean, you can't. As soon as you think you get to the bottom of this mess, it gets even deeper. It gets deeper. I'm being serious, man. I don't even care about the games. I get to the 9th inning, I'm like, oh, we got a nice little game on our hands. Let's see what the Reds can do. Oh, wow, they're battling. Good at bat after good at bat after good at bat. Ty France rips the ball down the line, and you're telling me that a guy that has a minus 17 run differential on the season or a career or whatever the hell it is, he lays out and makes a play? We do have a deep drive of the day. And you know what? I'm very happy for Rosario. He's going to be a nobody for this franchise here relatively soon. But by God, he hit a ball to the moon tonight. 107.7 miles an hour. I mean, do you know how hard that is? It's 5 miles an hour harder than Ty France's ball he just hit when a guy that has a minus 17 run differential makes the play. 420 feet off the bat. For those that can do math or they have their T9 calculators, that's 25 degrees. Nobody gives a rat's ass about what the percentage chance of what the Reds were going to win because they're playing the Brewers. So the analytics department takes the night off on Saturdays because they like to go out to dinner because they know it's going to be a 0.0% chance that the Reds going to win. But here we are. We have a deep drive of the day sponsored by DSC. Shout out to DSC. They are a leader in renewable commodities, specializing in biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil, collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thank you to John. I listen, I was fine. I was coming down, and all of a sudden you want to rip out a stat right there at the very end. Just taking the knife and digging it in there. I don't care about this team. I say that to myself every time I watch when we get to the first inning, I'm like, I don't care what happens. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to go into 2025, and the record's going to say 0-0 when we exit Goodyear, Arizona. Yet, I just keep getting roped right back into getting just my heart ripped out to a certain extent there at the end of these baseball games. Do I really care at the end of it all? Sadly, I do, kind of. And that's the problem. And if you have a problem, I'm going to get our ad reads out of the way because I don't know how long this show is going to go. If you got a problem like I got one, there's a place you can go, mantherapy.org. Mantherapy.org. Let me let you guys know. It still works. Man Therapy, it's okay to cry. Even when it's not about sports. Well, what if it is? Gentleman's Health 101. If you got anger, depression, resilience, trauma, stress, or grief, those are all topics. The other ones are really heavy. I'm not getting into those. But you might have those too. I'll be honest. If you watch this enough, you watch this long enough, you'll get to some of those heavier topics. And if you need help, mantherapy.org, please. I don't even know where to start. What do you start with? What do you even start with? I mean, you can start with the fact that Noelvi Marte, he got a couple of hits. I'm thankful he's above the Mendoza line. That is a good sign. 11 and 26. Go ahead, Nick. I don't even. I'm going to do my best to give you some rational pointers here and there, but you're not going to get a whole lot from me tonight. My emotions are, I'm done. I kind of am done. Is this what David Bell feels like?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's not even coming out and arguing these tracks, like he's just kind of like.
I don't
But
know.
it's like you would almost expect David Bell to get like thrown out at the end of that game today.
It sucks. This whole thing is so bad. It's so bad it's good almost. I mean, God's honest truth. It's so bad that it's so good. 11-26. Are you going to tell me that that's the record?
In one run games.
Yeah, and they're probably 3-60 against the Brewers the last 4 years. Anyways, Nick, it's another one-run loss, I guess. We can start there. They just don't make enough plays, and good teams execute. And listen, like, I give Brewers the credit. I do. I know people want to blame the Reds, and they can. We can blame the Reds. They had opportunities that they completely squandered away in a game like today. But at the same time, I mean, you hit a ball that looks like it's going over the wall, gets robbed. You lace a ball down the line. Let's be honest, Nick. The guy doesn't catch that ball. The Reds win. And we're not talking about any of this, which is kind of wild. But here we are. I guess we'll make another talking point of the one-run losses. At least we're getting them all out of the way, Nick. Hopefully next year that hopefully at some point it starts falling in our direction.
You hope so. Typically it is a something that when you have a bad year, it often's followed by a good. I mean, there's no guarantee, but Reds had a winning record in one-run games last year, and this year it's about as ugly as you can get. I think the Marlins had one of the better one-run records in quite a long time last year, and then this year they just absolutely have been abysmal. I don't know. I guess you hope you get them all out of the way now.
Yeah, what do you say? I mean, the Brewers just, they can't keep getting away with this. They just can't. And they do against us. I'm not suggesting for a single second that I think that the Brewers are a team that, I would trade away 8 years of Reds, fandom from now until 8 years to have this group of guys that they currently have. But at the same time, like, they keep doing it. I mean, as soon as you thought that they were probably going to trade away everybody and they get rid of Burns and next thing you know, Craig Counsell leaves, which I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know. You think that the Brewers are done, and then nope, same old Brewers.
I think two things can be true here for both the Reds and the Brewers. I think that the Reds have made a lot of mistakes that are why they're where they're at, but I think the Reds have also had a lot of really shitty luck. And I think the Brewers have done a lot of really, really good things to get where they have, but they've had incredible luck. The Brewers Vegas had them as the fourth best odds to win the NL Central. So unless you think Vegas is complete frauds, which if you do, I would encourage you to go bet all your money and see how far that gets you. I mean, this team, the Brewers have clearly had a lot of things go their way that were not supposed to go their way. So I don't know. Does that mean it changes next year? I don't know. Does it change for the Reds next year? I don't know, but you like to hope it does.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus in Ohio. But
thank you.
No problem. All right. I'm going to try to get this back on track. So Fernando Cruz, he's first on the rundown. I'll openly admit I'm bouncing back and forth. I didn't get a chance to see everything that happened in this baseball game. I got a chance to see the majority of it, but not enough to really speak on the Fernando Cruz situation. Going through, I mean, he starts a game, right? And he does his job. What more are we supposed to say? Listen, like, and I'm not trying to get on you, but Fernando Cruz at this point has an immunity pass. Like he's completely cleansed. He's free. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. If he sucks the rest of the year, Nick, I still will say Fernando Cruz. If the Reds are fortunate enough to put him as a part of a mix next year, then I'd say, okay, I still believe in him until he proves me wrong. But this is a guy that you were kind of comparing to Zululeta the other day, and it's just he's earned the right to at this point get the benefit of the doubt, if we want to call it that.
I think the only thing that's kind of interesting about Fernando Cruz, and look, I agree completely. Like, what Fernando Cruz really does the rest of this year, I don't think changes much. I think like he could get rocked every game he comes out the rest of the year, and I still think he should have a clear path if he comes to spring and looks fine to be on the big league roster. The only thing that I think is interesting about Fernando Cruz is his usage, and are we maybe finding out that Fernando Cruz is better off? I'm not going to say as a long man or anything, but remember earlier in the year how many games Fernando Cruz came in and got one batter out, right? I mean, there was a lot of those, right, where he was just like the fireman and got one batter out. And I think that might have played a major role in why he wore down. Whereas now, like, he's still been pitching all year, but the Reds have been using him like every 3 or 4 days for multiple innings, and it seems like he's pitching a lot, but he looked a lot better than he's looked at any point the last 2 games. So that's the only thing I think is, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Ahmed Rosario, awesome home run, cool for him. Like, there's no point in talking about Ahmed Rosario on a Reds podcast because he's means nothing to the future of this team, but Fernando Cruz does mean something. So I don't know, maybe Fernando Cruz, maybe is this a better role for him, like a 2 inning at a time guy that you need to give more time off. I don't think there's enough data to know the answer to that, but I just think it's something to maybe watch over the rest of the season.
I think the thing to watch is just how effective his splitter is, because that's his only pitch, right? And I think we can all agree on that. But that only pitch, that one trick pony, is an excellent pitch. I mean, he can live off of it, as we've already seen. So if he's capable and that thing is effective, I think he can still be a setup type man. There were times this year where we all felt like he should be the closer. So I'm not going to say that he should be penciled into some one specific role. But again, we got so much time left to kind of make those decisions, and we'll see where Fernando Cruz also is getting up there in age, and I keep bringing that up because I don't want people to forget that I think that's a huge impact when you have an off season. The older you get, those off seasons become very, 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 very different than when you're in the prime of your career, just based off of health and whether you're capable of coming back the next season and performing. So we'll find out. We'll see. Speaking of somebody that obviously is starting to head closer and closer to what you would consider their prime, hopefully here soon, Noelvi Marte. He has a couple hits tonight. I did not get a chance. I see the chat. I did not get a chance to listen to the broadcast, as I mentioned, but I guess were they giving him a hard time a little bit tonight on the broadcast? Did you hear that, or is that just kind of hearsay in the chat?
Well, he had a play early in the game where he was on third base. The Reds got someone bounced into a double play, and Marte just stood at third base and didn't score. And the broadcast was giving him a pretty hard time on that. I feel like he probably should have gone home.
Yeah, as soon as the ball's thrown.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't know. Or guys gun shy because of how many outs they've been making on the bases. I don't know. But other than that, I mean, he had a good night. He had 2 hits, and then his 2 hits, I think, were both infield hits. And then obviously hit an absolute rocket. Got robbed of a home run. So look, it's good to see him. Have at least a good night at the plate, and you just hope you can see some signs of life here down the stretch. But I think we're past the point of banking on him for next year. But again, there's also no reason to give up on him either. Yeah, I think there's just so many of those guys that are kind of in that spot where they've reached the point where there's no reason to bank on them. But I don't think people should also go overboard where they give up on them either completely because they're still young players that can completely flip their careers around. The Brewers have plenty of those guys that they brought up that didn't perform well. They sent them back down, and now they're big pieces of their team. There's a lot of teams like that across baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the Welve's it's way too soon to cast judgment. Incredibly too soon to be on one side of the aisle. Whether you think that he's going to be a superstar or whether you think that he's, a bust for sure, far, far, far too early to be saying those things. And let's face it, let's use Elly De La Cruz as an example of what young prospects can look like from time to time and what people will say about them and then how that looks mere months later. And I'm not comparing Marte to Elly, but I am saying that Marte certainly has a ceiling that's much higher than your average prospect that comes up. His ceiling is significantly higher than Espinal, but I will also admit that Espinal has a more or less floor that we've seen at the big league level that we feel okay about. And outside of Espinal struggling for maybe, like I said, maybe 2 months when he first come over, he's been unbelievable. So, unfortunately, he's out now. So really, at this point, day to day, whatever term that they had used, Marte's going to continue to get opportunities, and we'll see what he does with them. All right, highlighted obviously 988 on the front end of this show. Game Time. If you're looking to go and get tickets in the near future, please download the Game Time app. Myself and Nick have both used the app. I like the fact that you can get in there. You can see the seats where you're at. You can also kind of get an idea of the value of those tickets. So, or like the kind of deal you're getting. So if you click on one in left field, it might tell you that your rating is an 8.2 on the value scale, but the one in right field is a 9.2, and you can kind of start to maybe filter off of that, and you can get to the best tickets the fastest because it's all about time, baby. You don't get any more time in your life, right? That's the only thing that you can't buy is time. And if you like saving time, download the Game Time app. And if you like saving money, use the code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y. You get $20 off your first purchase, and download the Game Time app today. And thank you to Game Time for supporting us and this show. All right, Santillan comes in and makes a mistake, gets away with it, though. I mean, he makes a mistake. Did you think, really quickly, I know we can get into outing and all that, throwing the ball hard, doing his job. Do you think that there's like a communication thing there where like Marte could scream at Santillan and tell him to get the hell out of the way? Or is that just a thing where it's like, I guess we just have to trust that Santillan's going to make the play? Because if he makes a good throw, Nick, I'll openly admit, probably not discuss it. I'm not discussing the communication between the third baseman, essentially, and Santillan. I just thought it was a tough play for him. And with all due respect, not trying to be rude or disrespectful to Santillan, doesn't look like the most kind of nimble kind of guy,
His reaction made me think that he didn't think that Marte should have took that ball. He thought it was his, and he just made a poor throw. But all 5 strikeouts. Didn't allow none of the balls that they put in play. Was only one ball put in play. None of them were hit hard. So,
right.
He's had a few up and down outings of late, but he's got a 2.33 ERA now on the year. So he's had a really awesome year. Credit to him. I mean, I think he's solidified himself as a guy that's going to stay on the Reds roster this offseason. And he's in a much different spot than so many of the other players because he's out of options. So if you decide you want to keep him this offseason, you have to tender him a contract next year. You have to basically pay him for not the whole year, but part of it. It's a little bit more than just your typical player that you could option down to AAA. And he's definitely 1,000% earned a spot on the 2025 Reds, and he's definitely been one of the better success stories this year.
Yeah, I'm not all that worried about the bullpen headed into next season from the standpoint that, as I've said before, there's going to be a plethora of guys that are probably going to fall off, but I'm hoping that we're going to find the next Fernando Cruz, guys you just don't expect to be serviceable. And then I'll also tell you, Santillan, I remember last year at the beginning of the season, Santillan was kind of like stretching and playing catch in the outfield. He wasn't on the active roster. I think he was still going through some rehabs and stuff. And I openly admit, I thought, man, he'll be lucky to kind of get back to the big leagues. Like, I just don't see it. You know, he struggled and then he got hurt, and it's like, I just don't think it's in the cards. That's my point about relievers. Next thing you know, the guy's out here, he's throwing 98, 99 miles an hour, Nick. He's striking 5 guys out. And you want that on back-end relievers. Like, more times than not, relievers are going to come into some spots where you need strikeouts. It's not so much about having pitchability. It's not so much about making sure that you get weak contact, this, that, and the next. You need strikeouts. And Santillan obviously has proven that he can get guys to swing and miss. And that's going to be, something to keep an eye on, obviously, heading into next season, whether or not, he's a guy that we can trust and really rely on. All right, you got Rosario on here. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. I don't mean to be rude. I just don't care. I'm happy he hit the home run. I'm thankful he hit the home run. That was good. But I don't make much out of it, I guess. Am I being a bad fan for saying that?
No, I mean, you're being a fan with the common sense. I mean, it isn't. Yeah, I mean, good for him though. I see Spencer Steer. He had a couple good at bats. I thought his at bat in the ninth inning was good too, that he struck out on. Just a terrible call by the umpire.
Yep.
But that was there was a lot of really good quality at bats against Devin Williams. You don't want to be swinging at balls from Devin Williams. So I'd much rather they strike out looking against Devin Williams than be swinging at those pitches, because there's no chance they're going to have any success against it.
Yeah. Listen, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think that for whatever happens in the ninth inning for this baseball team, and I'm not saying they're not trying innings 1 through 8, and maybe it's just human nature to be this way, but the at-bats that they put together every ninth inning when they're down by 1 or 2 runs is so much better than the rest of the game. It's quite noticeable. I mean, and again, maybe it's just me kind of having an emotional mind attached to that ninth inning versus the other innings, but it just seems like we extend at bats. We're take good pitches, foul off pitches, Ty France especially, and they've put together good swings as well, where they put a barrel on it, and they've gotten some big hits. But we'll see. Spencer Steer, I'm kind of to the point now where I feel like he's kind of like Jonathan India in a way for me. I hate to put him in that, I hate to be like, I don't mean to demean the few guys that are here every single day. I look at Steer as a guy that I can trust being an average big league hitter, which is not a bad thing. I don't want people to think that's not a bad thing. That's good. If you know you're going to get an average big league hitter, hey, it's better than half the lineup. So I look at Jonathan India and Spencer Steer kind of as those guys where the ceiling probably, he's not ever going to be out here winning silver sluggers, but I do think he'll never be a guy that's going to be, a 75 OPS plus type of person. So we'll see. That's all I really got on Steer. As you mentioned already, had a couple good at-bats tonight, and kind of some tough luck in the ninth. But anything else that you wanted to discuss here before we jump into Reds MILB?
Nope.
All right. Shout out to, for those that are Notre Dame fans, they just punched it in with 1:54 left, so we'll see if they can hold on. Reds MILB, though. We got some baseball games that are actually meaningful. The Dayton Dragons, specifically.
We had a lot of interesting stuff in Reds MILB. Everything went final. That's the wrong one, but everything went final, so I got a lot to run through. Try to get through it quickly here. All right, AAA. So Louisville actually had a suspended game in Game 1 today. The Bats picked up a suspended game in the top of the 10th. Both teams scored a run in the 10th inning. Then Yvonne Johnson had a 2 RBI double in the top of the 11th to give the Bats an 8-6 lead. But the Indianapolis Indians scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 11th to win 9-8. And that loss tied the Bats franchise record for longest losing streak at 12. In that game, this is just kind of a fascinating thing. You don't see this a whole lot. Zach Maxwell pitched. So Zach Maxwell pitched the bottom of the 9th on Friday night. Then the game got suspended. And then he actually came back out in the bottom of the 10th on Saturday. They didn't make a pitching change, assuming because they got the lead. He is technically their closer. But he threw a scoreless inning, looked really good. He did, or not, he allowed a run, but it was the ghost runner. Struck out 2 batters, didn't allow an earned run. So good stuff for Zach Maxwell. Technically 2 shutout innings in this game. One of those was on Saturday. All right, and then in the actual scheduled game, Louisville won 6-0, so they avoided being alone with the longest losing streak. They're now 58-72. They snapped their 12-game losing streak. Blake Dunn, 2 for 5. Joey Weimer on base twice. Avon Johnson, 2 for 5. He has been on fire of late. And then really great pitching performance from Sam Ben-Schuster. 5 scoreless innings, struck out 5. That's a name to, I think, watch. A guy that I know the Reds like. They had him in the Arizona Fall League. I don't think he's got like a very high ceiling, but if the Reds are needing a pitcher down the stretch, I would not be surprised if you see Sam Ben-Schuster get a chance to pitch in the big leagues. All right, down to Double-A, the Chattanooga Lookouts. They officially set a record for the most losses since they rejoined the Southern League. They fall to 40-84 on the season as they lose 5-2. Dominic Vitelli, 0 for 4. Austin Hendrick did have a hit, 1 for 4. Michael Trotwine, 1 for 3 with a walk. All right, and then to Dayton. The Dayton Dragons came back from down 7-4 to win 8-7. The Dragons can take a little bit of a breath. They now have a 4.5-game lead with 7 games left. Their magic number is down to 3. Cam Collier hit his 20th home run of the year, also walked twice. Ethan O'Donnell, 2 for 3. Hector Rodriguez, 1 for 4, drove in 2 runs. Leo Balcazar and Jay Allen, each 1 for 5. And then John Michael Fail, 2 for 5 with a triple. Did not go as well for Daytona. They lose 12-1 to Palm Beach. Their lead is now down to 3 games with 7 left. Adam Serwinski pitched really well, though. Got the game started off well. 3 scoreless innings, struck out 3 batters. Sammy Stafora and Ricardo Cabrera, each 1 for 4. Yerlin Confidant, 2 for 3. And then Peyton Stovall, 0 for 4. So they're 3 ahead. Still 7 games to play, so they're still in a good spot. But yeah, next week will be the final week of the regular season. And then hopefully the week after next, we'll have some playoff baseball.
I'm amazed that you do this. I got to be honest, Nick. You just put a lot of work into this, man. And I got to tell you, I appreciate it. And I hope that other people appreciate it. And I think that the unfortunate thing is there are times where really people will base their opinion or have their opinion on our show. And really it's attached to whether the Reds are winning or losing. And I get that. I'll also just say that, there's a lot of work that goes into this from Nick's side that I just don't know how many people are willing to do. I genuinely don't. And I don't know if that's a compliment, Nick, or if that's just me calling you an idiot or crazy or all the above, but I will just tell you that there just has to be nobody else in the world that is going to actually be a fine tooth comb here through Reds MILB to come up with all that information on a night like tonight. So shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Jim, I see you in the chat, and I just want to say something to you, Jim. I know you're a great fan, and I think a lot of the things that you said in the chat are true. I do. The only thing I would say is, you mentioned your age, and I think about that from time to time because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. We literally, and I'm not trying to be morbid on this show, but we all could literally die tomorrow. And you just don't know it. You don't know when your time's going to come. But I would just say, it's not so much that we're asking or anyone else, I think, is asking in this fan base for patience. No one's asking for patience at this point for this Reds team or this Reds franchise or the organization. Nobody's, and I don't ever want it to come off on this show that anyone's asking for patience. I just think that realistically speaking, the alternatives of doing certain things are only going to hurt yourself, right? Like boycotting the team or deciding that you're not going to spend money with the team. And then listen, I get the sentiment, right? You got to draw a line in the sand somewhere. And I know people will make fun of the idea of they're not going to get Jim's $20. Oh God, the Reds are going to go bankrupt. Well, I don't really buy into that thinking either. So I would just tell you I get the sentiment. I think at this point it's more or less like you just have to figure out what you're capable of wanting to do and supporting the team, and do it for your own self. Like, be selfish about it. If you love watching the Reds, then just treat it like it's, part of it. And at some point, you hope it turns itself around. But I hate to say this so bluntly, but like, nothing we as fans can do, in my opinion, will ever change the overarching landscape of Major League Baseball. That's the truth. And I'm not going to allow Major League Baseball's inept financial situation, I'm not going to allow my viewpoint of the ownership group or anyone else's affect the fandom that I have. So I'm going to watch my team that I enjoy. And if they struggle, who, what, when, where, and why.
Well, we got the old TBD tomorrow for the old Redlegs, unless they've announced someone while we've been on, which they seem to enjoy doing to me. They have not. So TBD for the Reds. Good luck figuring that out. But for the Brewers, Tobias Myers, another one of their incredible projects, 6-5, 2.99 ERA. This was a guy that's been traded by the Orioles, Rays, Guardians, and Giants, got DFA'd by the Giants, claimed off waivers by the White Sox, released by the Chicago White Sox last year, signed a minor league deal with the Brewers, and has been incredible. He relies on 4 pitches, 4-seamer, cutter, slider, changeup, very occasionally a curveball, very occasionally a sinker. Fastball averages 93. Last 8 starts for Myers, he's got a 2.23 ERA, 9 walks and 38 strikeouts and 44 1/3 innings pitched. He started against the Reds back on August 10th, 7 1/3, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. And tough challenge for the Reds tomorrow. They actually interviewed Myers on the Fox broadcast tonight, but a cool story for him. He's a guy that really came out of nowhere. I hope that they finally have some guys that stop coming out of nowhere, but I don't know.
We'll see what tomorrow holds. Celebrating my 9-year-old's birthday tomorrow. And you don't want to hear something crazy? He wanted to go to a Reds game on his birthday. So on Monday, I think we're going to go down to a Reds game. So tomorrow we're going to have his birthday party. He wants to go down to a Reds game. And sometimes I just laugh because it's you just, as a 9-year-old kid, you don't know any better. You know, if you show up to the ballpark and Ellie De La Cruz is playing and they got ice cream and popcorn, you don't give a shit how bad this team is. So I'm trying to emulate my son. I'm trying to, put myself in my 9-year-old shoes. It's hard, and I'm well aware of it because a lot of us, Jim included, he's saying his kids haven't ever won it and seen anything. You're looking at two guys. You're looking at two guys that are quite literally your sons. I mean, we have never felt the glory. But I promise you, I really do promise you. You don't have to believe me tonight. You don't have to believe me, and I don't expect you to believe me. But I promise you, it's coming though. Like, it's going to happen because at some point you just will it to happen. We'll see when. And it's not going to be tomorrow, but you will see us tomorrow because we do one after every single game. And that might have been a mistake. Some are asking, was that a mistake? Look at those Chatterbox Reds, guys. They got to do a show tonight. What idiots. Well, I got news for you. We're loyal. We're going to be here through the thick and the thin. And by God, it's thin. It's as thin as it gets. But I know this, the chat isn't thin. We just, on a college football Saturday, we're up in the hundos on a live stream for a team that's worthless. So yeah, still pretty proud about that. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Go Reds.